I'm Morey White.
I'm Bob Nelson.
And I'm Tracey White.
And I'm Pastor Johnny Leckie, and this is the Compass Conversation Freeze Frame. Podcast. It's the thumbnail podcast. We will follow you. You have the name above every name. We will follow you, King Jesus.
We are dorks.
Oh my
and
gosh.
we're back. Yeah, we're back. Because the timing was perfect.
Oh, I had to. I'm sorry.
Yes,
I always have
the
to
coffee
take a
mug.
little- I don't even have much left. I'm like right here.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Good.
that's less to spill.
No, just kidding.
Stain.
Well,
Stain.
I noticed. Okay, well, look. See, what happens is when it's the long end
Like
by
over
me,
here,
that's
yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, I get it.
It hits
I
my
get
foot,
it.
and I'm like, ah.
It's all right. Now we have more cables up here and everything because we're just trying to not go through the whole system. Keep it a little standalone.
Keep it
But
simple. It's supposed to be mobile.
It is.
The idea.
That is
Sort
the
of.
idea.
Next one's going to be at Chili's. It's going to be.
Still need power though. For
that's
the
right.
pieces.
Got to have some power.
Well, you mentioned chili, and that's part of the reason we're not doing an outside thing, maybe.
Because it's chilly.
Because Tracy's a wimp.
Just Tracy's chili. Tracy's chili. That's what it is.
True story.
It is kind of true.
I love
It's
my
all
brother.
right, man.
I love my
Look,
brother.
I said it yesterday,
Yes,
didn't I,
you
Johnny?
did.
I was
You
like,
did.
hey, I would actually rather be back in Kuwait at 130 degrees in the shade with the wind blowing in the sand and everything than be cold. I would love to.
Yeah, now
sweat.
I'm sort of the opposite now. At least I haven't always been
understand.
like that. I mean, I spent all those years in Texas and
That's
Louisiana.
true.
And
Hot and humid, right?
as I've said many times before, my inner core is still cooling since I've been moving.
Yeah.
It's still not cool yet. I'm almost cool.
Almost.
It's taking a long time because you can always, when you're in a hot room, you can only take off so much.
Yeah.
Eventually, there's nothing else to take off.
True.
But when it's cold, maybe you can keep putting blankets on.
Yeah. No.
That's kind of a lame.
Because you still want to breathe and your face is still out in the cold and everything is freezing and the
I like
nose
that
is-
part.
No.
Why are we talking
For
about
me,
this?
a long time ago, I realized people complained about the cold, and then those same people complain about the heat, and they just keep on going back and forth. So I just decided to pick on one. I like the heat. I'll stick to hating the cold.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
I'm with you. High five.
What can I say, man? I love them both. It's all God's beautiful creation.
Well, that's true. Thanks, Johnny.
Although I got to say,
Over spiritual.
Sunday morning, I was telling Johnny, it felt like we should have a football to be throwing around. It reminded me of Thanksgiving, and tossing the football around with the cousins and stuff. It just
That's
kind
what
of
I was
felt
saying.
Back
Like
in
when
the
you do a
day.
tackle and you roll through the leaves. kind of deal.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanksgiving, can't wait.
Kathy hates this time of year because the leaves are falling and we had to put a net over the, not a net, but a net over the pond.
Sorry, Annette.
Sorry, Annette. Poor Annette. To catch the leaves so they don't get in there.
I've had that conversation with Annette. Not about the leaves. What are you doing?
Maury's punching buttons.
He's the switcher.
Pushing his
You're the
buttons.
sitter.
my
He's
buttons.
the switcher. We discovered that last year. Last
At any
week.
rate, it was a good day yesterday. So even though it was cold and windy.
It was very dramatic, I will say. It was a surprise. I mean, in fairness, but we always know it's Colorado. I mean,
True.
it could change. But even the weather report on Saturday didn't have, and Bob and I were talking about that. We're like, well, it's supposed to be. It's going to be a little chillier than we thought, but it's going to be sunny and everything. And so, how was it? Cloudy, windy, cold.
Whenever I first came out to,
And there we were outside.
to start moving stuff to the back porch, I was just in a t-shirt and it wasn't that cold. And then it just kind of
Got colder as we were going along.
progressively colder. That's okay though.
And then it warmed up.
It did.
Yeah, as the day went on,
And today was a beautiful
all that
day.
stuff had happened
Yeah.
that they said was going to happen. That's all right. We still had visitors, and it was. I thought it went well. I mean, I did. I did keep things streamlined on purpose because it was. I mean, I could have. There was a lot more I probably could have done and said, but I just figured it's cold. I'm going to slice this a little bit leaner, and let's just get focused right in. And so, I know most people would probably like for me to speak that long every week. Clocked in about 18 minutes or something like that.
True story.
It's true. It can be done.
I do want to say thank you, Leona.
Wait,
For the-
here, do that one.
Thank you,
Because I
Leona,
can-
for the burritos. They were
Yes.
awesome. Thank you.
I never got one. So
Really? The cool thing,
I have no idea. I'm
the
just
cool
going by
thing
the
was we had the
testimony.
fire pit in the going in the gazebo, and everybody was
Yes.
putting their burritos on the fire pit to warm them up.
Well, it cracked
So-
me up because we were planning to have what was it? We had hot dogs.
We
and
did
chips
have
and stuff.
hot dogs, yeah.
And then what happened was they were doing the hot dogs around the fire,
Yeah.
like at a campfire. But before that, they were making s'mores. I'm
I know.
Where did this come from? We didn't
Totally
bring
missed out on the
s'mores.
s'mores.
You didn't get one?
Nah.
Oh.
Did they raid your pantry or so? I was like, where
Yeah.
did the s'mores
Annette
come
went
from?
and got them.
Huh?
Annette went and got
Oh, I
stuff.
thought
Oh, she went to the store. She went to the store.
That's brilliant.
I thought Kathy had that stuff.
Oh, that's
last
hilarious.
time we did s'mores, but
That was
yeah,
awesome,
that's
though. It's
great.
like, wow, turn the morning around, man.
See what
s'mores going.
a great blessing it is to live practically right across the street
Yeah.
from a
Yes.
grocery store. So,
Absolutely.
That's funny. You were taking Annette's name in vain earlier, and she provided the s'mores.
yeah. There was no vein there.
We all love Annette.
We do.
Definitely.
Yes, we
I
do.
see Annette as our charter member.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, here's the
Not
cool
really.
thing.
You guys know.
The cool thing is, Annette kept pulling things that were needed out of her car. First, it was a blanket, and then a jacket, and then a cane, and then s'more stuff. So
Where did it all come from?
it is, you know, it's like
that
the
cool new
magic
vehicle she
bag
bought.
of stuff.
Yeah,
It is a cool new car.
It is a cool new car.
Oh, man.
great.
That's awesome.
So I enjoyed the message yesterday. Obviously, enjoyed the playing and everything, but I like the story that you shared talking
Oh,
to
at
the
the
old World War II vet
Oh,
about
that
his
guy.
experience there. But what was interesting about that is he was telling you a very, very personal story about
Yes.
some real life troubles that he went through.
Oh, yeah.
And something that apparently his wife had never heard before.
It was startling to me. I don't know what it is. Of course, over the years, just being a pastor, people will talk to me and stuff, and I'm always amazed what people will tell me. I'm kind of like, you don't have to tell me all of that. but I don't know. I just kind of developed that ability that wherever I am, Leona's the best at this though. Leona can be somewhere and be talking to somebody and I think they're old friends. I found she just met them an hour ago, or something. But people sometimes will just open up and start sharing with me. And I think that's what happened that day, because we weren't, we weren't strangers. I knew him. I'd known him for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just started opening up about not just being in the war, but losing his friend right next to him.
Right.
It's a violent. I mean, I didn't go into. I mean, he didn't start getting all gory and weird about it. But he got very somber and very solemn as he was sharing how he'd take a sip of, he's just like, take a sip of coffee and then my friend, and he just started talking about his friend and how they were running, and just boom, he was gone, died just like that.
Wow.
And then others as he was going. But yeah, the secretaries in the room, they were like,
Right.
his wife, I mean, even after he left and kind of went to lunch or went to go get them some lunch to bring
Yeah.
back, yeah, she just turned to me, she said that.
Wow.
He's never said anything like that. I mean, she was just whoa. But the beautiful thing about that guy, and he'd had so many things happen in his life. Lost his twin brother, but he was and again, not a perfect guy, right? He was. Everybody who would know him would say he's not a perfect guy, but he was certainly a faithful follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
Throughout his
That's
whole
good.
life,
That's good.
and that kind of stuff happened. While he was a fairly young man. Well, obviously you carry that kind of thing with you all your life.
Sure.
But yeah. I knew it was a little bit of an intense story. And everyone, speaking of everybody watching and turning in, at that point, it did kind of surprise me a little. Everybody was like completely tuned into that.
Like I said, it was a good story.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. So,
I was
That's the
reading
best
your
kind.
shirt, brother. I'm sorry. Just,
what?
From
Do the
my
TKM
Kuwait days.
soon. Oh, yeah.
just Yeah, he kind of looked at me like, "Why are you looking at my chest?"
No, it's because I'm manly. I've been doing my push-ups.
That's why we're not out in the gazebo.
Eyes up here.
Just having fun.
True story.
Okay, that's 3 times you can't do it.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, unless the opportunity arises, then we'll do it again. So, real quick, the reason that illustration, that story, was used as an illustration was because question 8, let's see. You want to put Bob on the spot?
Actually, I don't know. He didn't hear the message on Sunday. He was guarding the gate.
Well, you know what question
He was a
it was,
gatekeeper
right?
for the house of the Lord.
Exactly.
Gatekeeper.
And probably the reason why I missed that great story was, one, I didn't have a chance to look at the video today and see what was going
So
on.
you don't even.
And so yeah, so I'm gonna
I
have to
should have told
definitely
it
go
all
and
over
listen
now.
to that.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. It gives me a reason to, really, really watch it. So, but I was actually talking to somebody about my days as an officer. He was a guy from Calvary Chapel up the road here, and he was just one of the lay folks, kind of techie guys. And he's like, "I really like what you guys are doing and stuff." And so I was probably talking with him and missing that particular point. And I'm like, "Well, dang it!" But so now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh.
Something about question 8.
So, I can relate to a little bit of a degree to that story because what we were talking about was my days as a police officer and also follow-up days of doing, CPR and first aid training and stuff. And he's like, and so we were talking about that. And so you've been able to actually think about how to put holes in somebody and to plug those holes. I'm like, yes.
Wow.
That's right. That's one of your many the shaded past.
Yeah.
No one knows. You have so many stories and previous jobs in life.
I've had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's always fun. What I like is just talking to Bob and then finding out it's some new thing that he used to do.
Back when I was an astronaut.
I haven't done that one yet.
Dark side of the moon. It was something else.
When I was teaching physics at MIT.
That'll never happen.
My days as a famous rock drummer.
Hey, that's true. That's real.
We thought we did think we were. But at any rate, the question 8 has to do with troubles, right?
Do you remember? So, how do I respond to troubles?
Yeah.
How do I respond to troubles?
So close yet again, Bob.
Dang it, I
Was
missed
that
it.
wrong? Was that?
Say what you just said again.
How do I respond to troubles? How am I responding to troubles?
Subtle.
That's right. Yes,
But it is important.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Because the reason the title is not, and I really went through that. I went, well, if I say how do I respond to troubles, then it sounds like I'm asking, like the congregation's asking me the question. Now I'm going to tell you how to do it, which of course is kind of what was going on. But but I want everybody to ask themselves right now, how am I doing? Because we're looking at those markers in the year and what's happening in our life to see how, what's our relationship with God like, right? So you got to ask yourself the question first. And then,
Is it funny, bro?
it's hilarious, Morey.
What's funny is at the end of the day today, Microsoft had an outage, which caused an issue with us being able to, because we access a lot of their stuff that's in the cloud. Yeah. Right, so they had an outage, and one of the comments from one of my coworkers, my boss was, "How are we going to deal with that?" And his response was, "I'm going to ignore it, and it'll magically go away by tomorrow."
That's one way to
So
respond
that's
to
how he
trouble.
deals with trouble.
That's how he was responding to his trouble.
Head in the sand.
Dealing with his
approach.
Okay.
So, but again, this is an airline we're talking about, right? So they lost,
All of our stuff goes through Microsoft, all the planes.
no.
Well, due to COVID, they're not actually flying. All the pilots are on Microsoft Flight Simulator.
That's what
along
they should
with
be
Dad.
doing.
That's right.
Offering simulated flights for people. VR.
Simulated
You're
vacation.
not really going to see Grandma. You're just going to virtually.
Total recall.
Funny.
Recall.
Well, this is like integrating Zoom into your virtual reality. Okay.
Oh.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, right.
Maybe
Might be
onto
onto
something
something.
here.
Market.
That's funny. Well, speaking
Google
of
will sponsor it.
things, Google will sponsor. They're not a sponsor.
That's
But if you'd like to be, it's Johnny at compassdenver.com. All right. So,
get that in here.
can you imagine?
yeah, right.
They'd harass us. They'd harass us relentlessly.
Yeah.
So, what was also kind of funny, though, about yesterday, to segue, from what Morey just said, you had things go wrong at the end of your day. We had things that all went wrong at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
We did.
And they're all little kinds of things, but even the weather seemed to kind of go wrong.
Right.
But one of the funniest ones to me, and I'm so annoyed by it, we bought this brand new canopy. We brought it in we got it Saturday, and we're at the top of the hill, and Leona's like, Johnny, the canopy, and the wind had picked it up,
Yeah.
taken it over the fence into the street.
Yeah.
To the street.
Yeah.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
shocked it didn't hit any cars.
I am too. Well, I'm just kicking myself.
Our cars.
I know.
I just thought,
yeah.
well, I think we're okay. It's kind of braced in here. Listen, we don't have to tie it down.
Yeah. No.
No, we needed to tie it down.
Yeah.
But what else went wrong? We had a number of little things go wrong.
Well, I mean, wind gusts, blowing pages. We had, Kathy came to the rescue with
She
the clips,
The clips.
and
Well, it's like,
just little things like that. We had a camera blow over,
We did have
and
a
oh,
break,
that was the.
but it
Is it
still
okay?
works. It's,
Well, that's okay. I dropped another one.
Which one is it?
That I think it's that one right there. I think it's that
Still
one.
working? Still with us? We love you, camera.
And then Morey dropped
Drop this one.
that one right there.
You dropped that one?
I did. And here, well,
Or a
you can
little
see,
camera.
Now, there's more to that story.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you can note it or you can see, but it is on that tripod with the help of tape.
Oh,
And the
look at
reason
that.
is I forgot the quick connect at home, and I forgot it again today.
Wah, wah, wah.
Which is why it's taped again. But that's okay.
Hey, if you can't fix it with duct tape, it ain't broke.
I
Yeah,
know.
well, that's a good point.
That's what it was. We didn't use duct tape. That's why it came out.
You know what? You're right.
Well, with Kathy coming to the rescue with the pages all blowing and everything,
Yeah.
it just reminds me, it's like the adventure begins when the trouble begins.
You know,
That's sort of an old adage for like novel writing.
yeah.
If you ever have read a story or watched a movie, if there's no conflict, there's no trouble.
That's right.
It's pretty dull.
Right. It's part of the hero's journey.
The
Yeah,
idea back in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s was exploration, and there were two ways to do things. You could have an expedition or an adventure. An expedition was everything went exactly as planned. That's exactly what you wanted because people did not die that way. Or you could have an adventure, and I'll let you fill in the blanks.
A lot of it.
So often expeditions turned into adventures,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And that's the extreme version of the point. But
You know what's
where
really
death is involved.
you know what's really interesting, talking about troubles and how they affect us, how we deal with that. There is. Did I mention it last time about growing up? Did I?
Yeah, where you
Did
start
I?
out being
Oh well,
so
I'm not
tight-
going to make that
you know.
point again.
Which
Already made it. Not doing it.
one
again.
was the point
So-
that you made?
I will explain. No, I will sum up. So your point was when you're really young, when you're a kid and you knock over the milk, you're tired. You're just oh my gosh, life has ended, and then you grow up and you break up with your girlfriend. Life has ended, and you grow up and you lose your job. Life has ended, but each of those times you're growing and getting a little bit
Yeah.
better.
And then you get to our age, which except for Bob,
Where nothing bothers us anymore. We're
youngster.
yeah, we're immune. No, but really, the more you put your trust in God and grow in your faith, it's the same type of thing. Building the endurance, except you have a partner,
Right.
and you rely on that partner more, and the struggles, you handle them very differently
Yeah,
than whenever you were younger.
that's so true.
So I have a weird fitness metaphor for that. So when you fall on your face, you got to push up. So the more you push up, the stronger you get.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
153 times a
Your
week.
face is messed up, but your arms are invincible.
So, Joshua 1:9, to your point, haven't I commanded you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And that's your
Yes.
partner right there.
That's it.
I like
And
that.
the reason I quoted that even from Joshua, even though he was talking to Joshua and they were about to go into a military thing, is because that theme and that message to God's people and followers is throughout the Bible.
Well, I could go through all of these.
Would you
that
quote all of
had.
them?
Well, you know, as I mentioned before the show, it's interesting how in Julie and my readings, our daily readings we're going through right now, talking about David and going through some of the Psalms and also in Samuel and Chronicles, all kinds of stuff. But we're going through that, talking about David. And, you know, the first time I read in the in Psalms that, you know, you are my helper, to me that sounded, that's kind of, but you know, that's
Demeaning in a
what,
way.
yeah, God is that helper, talking about partner, and that's an appropriate word.
Yeah, I'm going to get like nerdy.
Get nerdy with it.
The original Hebrew in that helper is somebody who's way stronger than you are that comes in to help you out.
Yes, I like that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well, that's the good kind of
That's
nerd,
the
Bob. Bring
helper
it on.
then.
Always bring that on, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's like whenever
I think it's Ezra.
when I was a kid,
I'm
I'd
not
build
sure. I'd have
models,
to look at that.
and then I'd get like halfway through, and then Tracy would come in and finish it. He was my helper.
True story.
These are all true stories.
Speaking of true story, another illustration that you used was Shadrach, Meshach, and a billy goat.
Oh, and you may have noticed or may not have noticed, in all fairness, I actually said his name correctly, which
You
is
did?
not always said correctly.
Abednego.
Abednego, that's right.
But do you
Not
know
to
their
bed we go.
names? Their Hebrew names? That was actually...
No, do you? Do you
No,
know that?
I
Can
don't.
you?
Okay.
Oh man.
I was about to quote him, because, but now I've gone blank.
Oh.
I was relying on you as my safety net for all things.
That was one of the
Hebrew
things I
and-
heard you mention. It's like, but does he know the Hebrew names?
It's easy to find. I mean,
Maybe
quick,
it'll come
quick
to you.
glance at Daniel. It was
Yeah.
their original names.
Do you want me to?
No.
Okay, good. Okay.
But that gives those of you at home a little something that you can follow through on. A little research.
I like the beauty behind that illustration is the fact that even in the face of massive trouble, like certain death in their case, for not bowing down to the idol, they still chose to accept that trouble and keep the faith, and of course that ultimately saved them. But what's I guess a big point in that, and we said this last week too, I believe, that just shows that we're not immune to trouble.
To trouble,
and I think there's often a misconception that, well, if I give myself to God and I become a Christian, then I'm not going to have any trouble anymore. Life will be all roses and strawberries or whatever. That's not the case.
That sounds pretty good, though.
Though there are
I could go for
roses and strawberries from time to time.
Roses and strawberries.
on anniversaries.
milk.
True story.
You know, every time I hear that story,
Roses and strawberries.
I'll take
Which
it later.
story?
That may have to come
I'll
back
take it
some
later.
Okay. It's not for the camera.
Oh, it's not bad, but
It's just too long.
Private.
There are 4 lights. Remember?
There are 4 lights.
Because there were 4 people in the.
Yes.
Yes, because they were not alone.
Right.
Not alone.
Oh, right.
Jesus showed up.
That's right.
And then I just did a Star Trek. There are 4 lights.
I don't know. I should know that
Which
one.
You should. That's when Picard got tortured, and they kept telling him
There were 5 lights.
there were 5
and
lights.
Oh, right,
he's like,
right.
there are 4 lights.
Next gen.
But
We digress.
That's a serious digression. Okay, so what we were talking about was I was going to say about
Well, that's a good illustration. Picard had troubles.
Picard had trouble. Picard does not exist.
You know what?
So let's start again.
What about the tribbles? There were trouble with
There were
tribbles.
trouble with tribbles.
Once again,
There's a tribble.
I'm about to go to
Schrodinger
this
doesn't
trouble
count.
some trouble. Oh, for the Lord.
Off the rails.
Sorry, guys.
Reeling it back in.
Thank
Reeling
you.
it back in.
That's just us.
All I was going to say is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That story in itself is a whole message in and of itself. So I kind of hated just kind of jumping there quickly because there's so much good stuff in that story.
Yeah.
But it is true. I mean, they did. God didn't deliver them. He did deliver them ultimately, but he didn't deliver them from the trouble itself.
Yeah,
Right. He went through it
protected.
with them. But the other thing about those guys, and I didn't really harp on this a lot, but I did say it, that I love, is that they turned to this king who was telling them to bow down, and basically, completely disobey the living God, the real God. And they said, our God is fully able to deliver us from this. But even if he doesn't, we're still going to serve him. So that's a pretty bold thing, particularly when you really realize this is not just a little story. We keep saying true story, true story. This is a true story.
True story. True story.
So
Leaning
that's
into so the mic can hear that, by the way.
true story. Of the couple's conversation. Okay. Join us. All right, I'm going to do it. I'm disqualifying myself from any authority when I keep going into those voices. It's Monday night. It's the
just shook my
podcast,
head.
friends.
It is definitely Monday night.
I will mention one other thing about this. That is really an important idea from this talk from yesterday. And that is from the James passage that says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all of us. King James says liberally, meaning freely overflowing.
James 1:5.
And upbraideth not. What does it say in CSB?
Now, if any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives to all generously and ungrudgingly,
Yeah.
and it will be given to him.
Yeah. He doesn't make you feel stupid for asking. He really, he wants...
Yeah.
The context of that verse, because you can take it out and go, oh, that applies everywhere. But even in the context, it's like when you're going through trouble, right? And so many of us are like, why is this happening? Right? And he's saying we don't want to run from God, or worse yet, blame him.
Right.
But instead run to him in those things. And so that's sort of the key for life, is when things all go bad. It certainly is testing your roots. It's testing your relationship with the Lord. And whether you're on a rock or on sand, and all of those illustrations too. But ultimately, it's like God wants us to come to him during those times. And even if we're mad at him, he wants us to come to him, and because he's pretty big, he can handle it. He's not going to shrink back.
That reminds me of a VeggieTales song. God is bigger than the boogeyman. He's bigger than Godzilla.
The monsters on TV. Oh, God is bigger than that.
Yes.
It's come to this where it's almost time to wrap it up.
Not sponsored by VeggieTales.
It doesn't matter because they still are existing.
I believe they do. Yeah.
I think Disney or somebody owns them now or something.
Oh no.
Well, they talk about mini gods or something. I don't know. All right. Sorry, friends. So what time is it? How much more have we?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I trust that, and I didn't start my timer, so it's either at around. That's wrong. I don't know.
It's all good.
39 minutes, but it's probably not.
What else from?
No, it's we got 13 minutes left on the card. So.
Well, what was there anything else about yesterday? Do you guys want to share?
The use of the new rack system, which was pretty cool.
All right.
That was a literal blessing. Right? I mean, that rack was. And
There's no picture. You can't get it in
the story behind that is Kathy and I went to a little Mexican restaurant right next to Music Go Round. We love that little restaurant. Great food. And we went in, we ordered, and while waiting, it's like, let's run into Music Go Round. Well, we've been looking for a new rack for our equipment, something that would hold more stuff, right? and we were looking at one on Amazon for like $250. I walk in there, this thing is sitting there for $65.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Hey, Kath,
perfect.
we're walking out with this."
But there's more to that
To
story.
which she said, "Maybe we should pay for it first." True story. So the cool thing about that is,
Holding on to your integrity.
recently I got a couple of letters in the mail from a credit union saying, "Hey, if you don't make a transaction on your account, your money's going to the state." And long story short, come to find out, this was an account that I had set up in 1999, probably, and I'm 100% sure, actually, that it was for a car loan that had been since paid off and everything. And I had forgotten about what was left in that. It ended up being $170.
Nice.
So not a whole lot of money, but it paid for that. Now put the rest in the envelope.
The Lord set it aside 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, like literally.
Tis the holy wreck of. Wait, okay. No.
Blinking out from time to
It's a
time.
serious blessing.
What, that camera?
Yeah.
Well, that could be because I dropped it.
There was,
True story.
I think there was a moment in the podcast from last week where it actually went black for a second.
Oh, it could be the cable.
Yeah.
Because it's a very long long HDMI cable, and it's an active cable. So those things will wear out after a while.
That makes sense.
It likely need to be replaced. So
Yeah.
we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah.
We can
One
do
of
it
these days.
pretty soon if you need. Well, all right, friends. Well, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? It was a good day yesterday. It was
Yeah, it
cool
was
that
great.
there were people who visited. One lady who visited just because she saw the sign.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. Love to see her come by again with the rest of her family, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be good.
She has a big family.
We had the mom of one of the babies that Kathy watches, and that was
Yes.
pretty cool.
Yep, always good to see
That was
the
good.
kids running around too. So if I started doing I started thinking about, there are a lot of people just kind of on the edge around us that we've been reaching in some way or influencing relationally, and God's working on people. I think
Oh, yeah.
there's some good things
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
Well, it's not like 2020 doesn't have its troubles to make people think.
It is it is the year of trouble, isn't it?
That is the truth.
Well,
That is the truth.
all right, guys. Well, I think I'm wearing down now. Coffee's wearing off a little bit, and
All right.
we're all kind of tired.
All right.
People have stopped watching. We might as well end it. Maybe
pretty
not.
funny.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
True story.
And we have a byline. Well,
I'm sorry, Johnny. What would that be?
I can't imagine.
We are missing something.
Yeah, you know what? There is something that's missing. I keep waiting for it.
No, and it's
Quoted it yesterday.
one thing that Julie mentioned yesterday to me was that as we were watching again, we went home and watched it. So anyway,
All right. Well, let that be a lesson to you out
Yeah.
there.
but she's
back and
like,
watch the service.
one thing I absolutely love is Johnny keeps bringing up John 3:16.
John 3:16.
Which is amazing because it is the reason. God loved the world so much that he sent his only son, that whoever believes in him will not perish but can have eternal life. And that's an amazing thing. And
Yes,
the
it is.
reason we're here today.
That is so true. Thank you, Morey.
Thank you, bro.
That's a great thing to wrap up on.
I love
Yeah.
It's the hope we have, forgiveness we have, and it's all about the love of God.
And if one person gets it, man, that's awesome.
Could you imagine if everybody got it? Oh my goodness. How crazy.
That's sort of our goal,
Yeah, right. It is.
I wonder how many denominations we'd get out of that. Sorry.
Hey,
It would be great if we got it, but then people would argue about it.
that's true. 3:16. Here's hoping no.
Right.
Here's hoping no. Maybe we should all go back to it.
But at the same time, the reason why Jesus did that is because of the troubles that we get ourselves in.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And he still
That's
manages
right.
to unite us through it.
Yep.
That
Yep.
is so true. And then the initial trouble that we all have of sin that separates us from Him. So, Well, all right, guys. I think that's all I have for tonight. Do we have any? Before I say that, we'll just stay around this one right here. I feel like I'm in like on TV or something. Camera number 3.
That
Number
Maury's
1.
blocked.
Number 1.
Bob's blocking Maury.
Oh,
It's all
sorry.
right. Whoa.
Spike, gotta fix that. Doggone it, I hate it when I have to edit anything. All right, so
Careful with the tribble.
careful with the dribble. Anyway, every Sunday you can join us. You can be our guest this Sunday because we do meet at 10 a.m. You can join us via Facebook Live, and that is at Compass Church, Compass Church, Colorado. And you can also find out more, discover more about us at compassdenver.com. We'd love to see you this week as our guest. All right, that's all I have. Final words tonight.
Love you guys. Love all y'all.
Likewise.
I like that. Peace, y'all.
Grace and peace to you. That is all we have tonight, and we are out. I'll get the order right.
We will follow you.